So we're going to start, basically, we're going to work a little differently than we normally do. I'm going to kind of interrupt our class like here and there and just ask, you know, I'll share an equation and I'll ask us all to do the equation on our own account, because by the end of this, I really want us to all feel really clear on where energy needs to be going right now, versus sending you off to do all this stuff all by yourself and then you come up with an answer later on. I really want you to feel like we have taken the next step in clarity today with me, so that you can ask any questions if they come up. Okay, so well, I'm not going to be like obsessed with the chat. I'll be looking at it numerous times. Now, if there's any part where you're unclear, where you're like, okay, I think this is where I'm going with this, but I want to double check with Sophia, there will be an opportunity to do Q&A at the end. But I also want to remind you, this isn't a class about how. So let's say you're like, okay, I'm clear, I need to focus on growth. What are some growth strategies I should be implementing right now? We have a growth class, we have an engagement class, we have all those classes already in the Members Hub. This is a class about getting super clear. So if instead you're like, okay, I think I know what I want, but I want to talk to Sophia at the end and just see if she agrees, totally cool about talking about that. But I want to make sure this class is more about diagnosing versus here are strategies to help with the roadblock that I'm in. Okay, we'll talk about that in the problem solving session that we have in a couple weeks, or in a class that we've already got. All right, is everyone ready to dive in? Just drop a yes or a woohoo or a let's do this or something in the chat, just so that I can make sure I haven't already put you all to sleep. Carly, hey! All right, awesome. Yay, Arian's here. Okay, people are ready. Okay, let's do this. Arian, by the way, I can see you on my screen right now, and you look so good right now. Just glowing over there. Okay, let's dive in. So, strategy mapping. Today, we are going to cover, if it lets me go, we're going to cover how to know what your immediate focus needs to be. And we're also going to talk about how to start identifying your sales systems. That's another thing that I'm noticing. I'll talk more about this when I get there, but a lot of people are struggling with how to put a system in place for conversion. So we're going to talk about, that's how we're going to close this off. Okay, so how to know what your immediate focus is and how to start identifying your sales systems. Now, overall, I consider there to be 4 phases on social media. If you come to my classes with me, you're probably aware of this, but it's a good idea to just review them. The 4 phases are, the first phase is we like to fix your feed, okay? This is where we just make sure that your social media is laid out in a way where it's super clear if someone were to come onto your feed, who you are, who you help, and how to work with you, right? We want to make sure that that's super, super clear. By the way, I don't know why, but when this was set up, for some reason, it looks like we didn't automatically mute you guys when you come in. So just a reminder, if you're not muted, if you could mute yourself, that'd be really helpful. And then you can unmute yourself at the end for Q&A. The second phase is content to attract. This is where we get really clear about your messaging, right? We want to make sure that the content on your feed matches the work that you actually want to do and demonstrates value to the type of clients that actually want to work with you. All right, I'm going to quickly mute the person who's not muted. 1 second. Okay, I think I got you guys. Awesome. The third phase is engage to convert. All right, so this is really about making sure that we have engagement strategies and systems in place for creating engagement on our account, right? So again, first we want to make sure we've got the feed strategically laid out. Then we want to make sure we're posting content that aligns with what we coach. Then we want to talk about engagement strategies. And then finally, we're talking about amplifying to grow. So when you've got all those systems in place, now we need to talk about making sure we have a system or a habit in place that is about getting in front of new audiences, right? How are you going to get this already very strategic presence that you have in front of new people so that you can grow and not sell to the same people again and again and again? Okay, so those are the 4 phases. Now, in order to make sure we're on the right track, there are a couple of benchmarks that I advise that we measure. All right, now that would be consistency, engagement. So today we're going to talk about an engagement ratio and how to calculate that to determine if our content is performing for us from an engagement perspective. Growth work, right? So how are we growing? How do we measure whether or not it is time to grow? That's what we're going to talk about today. Relationship building and conversion. Now, The phase says growth is last, like the last phase. So why is growth in the middle of our metric? Let me explain that. Because sometimes the reason these things aren't happening is because we're talking to the wrong audience. Okay. So I like to put growth in the middle of all of it to make sure we're checking in on, are these signs that I need to be doubling down more on my growth work? Okay. So these are the 5 metrics we're going to go through today. And I'm going to walk you through questions, and it's a great idea to write them down, so that if you're ever feeling like stuck in a few months and you're like, gosh, I feel like I'm stuck again, I need to revisit whether or not I'm focusing my energy in the right place. I'm going to walk through equations and questions to kind of help you measure where you are with these benchmarks. Okay. All right. So once we know where we are and how we score within these benchmarks, we can make sure we're making more strategic decisions around where we're putting our energy, which is my big focus today. We need to stop looking at all the shiny objects on social media, all the strategies you hear, and automatically assuming that's what I'm missing. That's the thing I need. No, we need to actually look at the numbers and decide based on the numbers, is this really what I need, or am I spinning my wheels? Okay, because I think that's where the spinning the wheel stuff happens, right? Okay, so step 1 that we're going to ask ourselves is consistency. Now, I'm going to be honest here. You probably know if you're consistent. I don't necessarily have an equation we're going to go through today to help you decide if you're consistent. You probably know. But I do want to remind you, consistency does not mean daily. Okay, consistency just means consistent. So for instance, like how to know what's the best rate of consistency for you. And again, everyone is different. So I think this is very much something that I like to talk like on a case by case basis. But here's like a general. If you only work with clients one-to-one, you don't have a group coaching program, you don't have a course, you don't have a membership, you don't have anything like that. Like that's not the goal for you. You just want to work with one-to-one, and maybe you have like a cap of like, I don't know, 5 to 10 people that you can work with at a time. If you post three times a week, that's consistent. Like that's a good amount of time to be getting in front of people, and then making sure that you're still engaging and creating engagement. That's a good presence, right? However, if you're working with clients through courses and memberships and where the reach is really important, right? This is where you start getting that advice on the internet where it's like, you need to be posting every single day. The reason people are saying that is because if you're filling a course or a membership or something that's designed to scale, that reach can really matter, right? Your audience growing, getting in front of new people is really how that course or membership continues to thrive, because you want to make sure you're not selling to the same people again and again and again. So that's where you would technically increase. However, I want you to have some compassion for yourself right here, because this ain't going to happen overnight. 7 posts a week is a lot of content, right? So we do want to make sure we're allowing ourselves to work our way up to these numbers. And when we slip off, we're not being hard on ourselves. Like it's normal. So we're going to talk a lot about that, particularly next month in our consistency challenge. For those who don't know, we are having a consistency challenge next month in February. I think the dates will be February 7th to March 7th, where you can win prizes and all that stuff. But the objective is to build that consistency muscle. But it will, it needs that time. So don't be hard on yourself if you're not hitting these numbers yet. Okay, so I think we've covered consistency. I'm going to move on to actually some of the equations and things like that, because I think you guys know if you're being consistent or not. So step 2 is engagement. Now, please, everyone, pull out your phones, because I'm going to have you do an equation right now. Pull out your phones and a calculator. All right, you can use your calculator on your phone. Here's what we're going to be calculating right now is your engagement ratio. Now let's do the equation, and then I'm going to walk through what this actually means, but I'd like us to get some numbers out here. Okay. So here's the equation. The average engagement on your last 6 posts divided by your follower count times 100. All right. Now, before you do it, I'll show you exactly what this looks like. So for example, and don't worry, I'll go back to that equation for when you want to do it. But this is what it would look like. This is an imaginary count. I'm looking at the likes that I got on my last piece of content and the comments, and I'm adding them together to get a figure. All right. I'm doing that 6 times the last 6 posts, right? So now I've got this figure, 265, 163, 56, 134, and 144. Those are all the likes. Now I'm taking that number and I'm adding it together and dividing it by 6 to get the average. That's 127. Okay. Now, once I get 127, and again, don't worry, I'm going to go back, but I just want to show you, I want you to see it full through, and then I'll give you time to calculate this on your own. I'm then taking 127, I'm dividing it by 3,664. That's the followers that this person has, okay? And I'm getting this number, 0.34, times 100 to get a percentage. That's all you're doing, okay? So I'm going to go back so that you can take a look at the equation. And when you get your number, when you get your percentage, drop it in the chat. I'll give you guys like 60 seconds or so. Actually, you might need more than that. So just drop it in the chat. We'll take it as you guys need it. Amy, good question. She says, are we excluding the spam bot comments? Yeah, why? I think so. If people can't see that right away and they haven't been doing that, don't worry about it. Do it later. But if you're looking at that, Amy, then yeah, I would.
Hey, Sophia.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Jen.
You
Okay,
can.
wait. So can you go back to your example real quick?
Sure.
Because you had likes plus comments. I'm trying to.
Yeah. And Clarissa.
Oh, so you just added likes to comments and then,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at all that engagement and I'm just adding it together. Clarissa, for now, just to make it easy, do that. I'll explain why you don't have to do this so perfectly in a second, but I would just make it easy. Definitely just look at the overall comment count.
Hey, Sophia, it's Nicole. For a live, do we include views? Because I just had, I did a live on Friday, I had 1 like and 1 comment, but 26 views.
You know what? For this exercise, skip the live and do the other posts.
Okay.
So still do 6, but don't include the live. I would do that for this exercise.
Okay, got it.
You're welcome. And when you guys get your figure, drop it in the comments. Okay, Jen has 3%. Go, Jen. %. I had 0 comments, just likes. That's Leslie. That's okay. Well, first of all, 1% is still considered good for business, and I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, that's okay. This is all like data. That's great data. And Jen, that's like losing followers. We'll talk about that in a second too. Nicole, 6.5% influencer. All right, I'm gonna wait till we get 2 more before I move on. Damn, right, Jen? Oh yeah, by the way, if anyone that has kids around, I advise you put your headphones in. I do like to drop a F-bomb every once in a while. Less than 1%. All right, Amy, we're gonna talk about that in a second. Marissa, I think I'm doing it wrong. Why? What did you get? Did you get some crazy number like 567 or something like that? It says 16. Yeah. Well, I did yours a couple weeks ago, Marcella, during one of our classes, and I feel like you had 6%. You had a high number, right? I shared it with you. I'm pretty sure it was between 4 and 6. Yeah, 4. Yeah. Okay. We'll stick with that number for today. Okay. All right. Awesome. So the majority, Amy has less than 1, but we're going to talk about that in a second. The majority of us have over, like for business accounts, between, okay, Karen has 2%, Stephanie has 2.5%. Those are really great numbers. Between 1 and 3% is considered like very good, right? 3% is a very high average. If you are scoring something like 6%, that is what like influencer agencies are looking at to help to get you to like sponsor their content, right? So the reason I wanted to share this, Elise has 2.8%, also a very good score. If you are getting between like around the 3% mark, content is working for you. Okay. So if you have been over there obsessing about, oh, I wish I had more content. Why is my content not working? Your content's actually working. Algorithm wise, this is evidence that what you're posting is resonating with your audience. You made my whole effing week. Jen, that makes me laugh. Well, I'm so glad. This is evidence that like with the size following that you have, your content is working for you. The algorithm is working for you. Like things are in place. Is there always room to get more? Absolutely. There's always room, right? However, when it comes to making decisions about our business, when it comes to making strategic decisions about what to do next, we now know it is not content, all right? It is probably strategy. It is probably other things. So now we can get more specific. Nicole says, oh my God, I can't believe this. And it's so relieving. I don't get many likes, so I was unclear. I'm so glad, Nicole. Okay, so now let's keep going. All right, now keep going, sorry. Okay, now I also wanna be clear. This changes every week, so these should always be taken with a pinch of salt, but it gives us a good like frame of reference on how we're doing, right? So for example, the second you post tomorrow, your percentage is gonna change, right? That's just how social media works. So, but whenever I'm feeling like, oh, I'm feeling stuck and I need to know where to focus, this is something I like to do just to kind of give myself like, okay, where am I at? Is this still okay for me? Is it content? Like, what's the thing, right? So this could be a good exercise for you to do the next time you're feeling like something's not working and I need to figure out what it is. But don't forget, you have to take this with a pinch of salt. Now, if you got lower engagement rate, there's a couple reasons why this could happen. First of all, you have close to 10,000 or more followers. Like if you have a big size following, it's very hard for you to have high engagement ratios. Like that's just the way social media works. The bigger you get, the lower your engagement ratio, or the harder it is for your content to travel. I don't know why, but that's just the way it works. The second one is you've done some sketchy growth strategies. No judgment. We've all done them. I've done them too. I definitely have like probably a couple thousand people I need to delete from back in the day when I experimented on things and tried a bunch of different strategies, which were great at the time, but just aren't good now, right? So if you've done sketchy growth strategies, that could also be why your engagement rate is lower. And again, just the way it is. So just keep that in mind. Number 3, you get big exposure from something that is not related to your business. Like for example, for me, because my husband's a Peloton instructor, like I'm getting a lot of people coming into my world that are not my target audience. And they just kind of want to follow me because they want to like watch Bradley's life. They like Bradley as an instructor. And sometimes they get like really nasty DMs about how like, they love him and they're really mad at me for marrying him and all that stuff. So sometimes people are following you for the wrong reasons. And if you have something that kind of gives you some extra exposure, that can also be why your engagement ratio might be lower. Because again, those Peloton folks aren't really engaging on my stuff, right? And the 4th reason could be you've done a lot of ad work. Like a lot of ad work is experimental, right? So sometimes it gives you exposure in front of the wrong people and they haven't unfollowed you or whatever it might be. So they're just hanging out on your feed. So if you're experiencing one of these 4 things, that could be why your engagement ratio is lower than what the average is. So keep that in mind if you're one of those people. I am one of those people. That engagement ratio doesn't really work for me. There are times when it does and times when like I really have to take it with a grain of salt. But for me, I use some of the other questions that I'm going to ask myself to kind of gauge where I'm at. So if you're one of these people, don't worry. I'm sure I'll have you covered by the time we finish this, but just keep that in mind. Don't be hard on yourself. Now, if none of these things are true and your engagement rate is below 1%, your big focus in Q1 is probably engagement. Like, we have to understand from a messaging perspective, what isn't working? Like, what isn't being communicated to your people clearly enough, right? Okay, so with that in mind, we've done our engagement ratio. We know kind of like roughly how our engagement is performing for us, right? So step 3, now we need to decide growth. Is growth where we need to be putting our focus, okay? So if you scored around 1 to 3%, I want you to consider these questions. And Amy, for you, because I know you said you scored less than 1%, but I also know a little bit of your backstory. This is helpful to you, okay? So are you happy with your engagement? If the answer is no, if you're like, okay, I scored high, but I want more. If the answer is no, the next step isn't necessarily engagement work. Okay, the data says your content is performing. So instead, if you just want more engagement, the next step would be growth instead of engagement work. So don't stop the engagement work you're doing. Don't stop the clarity you have in your messaging. Don't stop the work you're doing on your messaging, but also don't put the extra energy into it. Instead, let's focus on growth work. How much are you putting yourself out there? Are the people you're putting yourself out there with big, or are they small? Like, is it time to up level how you're getting in front of people? Like, these are the types of questions you need to start asking yourself versus the engagement questions. The next question I want you to ask yourself is, take a look at your likes and your comments. Are these already clients and or family members? And I want you to right now, actually, let's drop the yeses and the nos in the comments. I love Jocelyn. I must have done this wrong. I have 11%. Jocelyn, I'll take a look at yours when we get off. Oh, Sarah Jane's like, I got 50%. We'll come back to it. Okay, so Clarissa says, wait, what was my question? Take a look at your likes or comments. Are these already clients or family members? Okay, so we are getting a lot of yeses. Jen is saying no. Jen, that's very good. We got another yes. Yes, definitely clients. All right, Carly. Carly, based off of your new system for doing crossover promo, this is good because this is a sign that we need to probably be doing some growth work. Pierre is mostly friends and family, mostly people who already know me but don't work with me necessarily. Jocelyn, this has taught me my maths are questionable. Good clarity. You're welcome for the data. Okay, awesome. Okay, great. So if your answer is yes, these are definitely clients and or family, it's very likely that we need to do some growth work, but let's answer the next question before we make that decision for sure, right? But if the answer is yes, that's a sign that the people that are friends and family are the ones that are engaging with us. And from a business standpoint, we need to get in front of new people, right? That's clear feedback for us, right? Now, oopsies. Why did I do this? If the answer is, let me just close this again. If the answer is no, then it could be that it's time for relationship building work. So if you're noticing, like I saw that Elise said, like there's like a third people that I don't know, this could be a sign that we need to be doing work to get these people on our email list or at least into a conversation with you. So I guess my follow-up question to that would be, do you know who these people are? Like, are they in your world? Are they active in a free Facebook group? Are they on your email list? Like that, from what you can tell, you might not be able to tell that right away. But now we need to kind of be focusing on how can we get these people in conversation with us, right? Clearly we have people that are not buying from me, following me, right? So while yes, we might want to do growth work, maybe our immediate focus is actually making sure we have a system for converting them rather than spending all the time on growth, right? And I'm going to talk about that today, but I'm just letting us kind of diagnose ourselves, okay? Now, the next question I want to ask yourself, if you're feeling clear, all right, so these are a lot of my friends and family. Now I want you to look, wait a second. Oh, I already clicked the next one. Sorry. The next question I would ask myself are these followers, are the people who follow you? So we just looked at the people who are liking and commenting. Now let's look at your followers, the people who follow you. Are they mostly existing clients or family members? Drop a yes or a no in the comments. No. Ooh, okay, we've got a good mix in here. Ooh, okay. All right, so we got a lot of no's. All right, are your followers mostly existing clients and or family members? All right, so if it's a yes, it's time for growth work. We know for sure, right? Because if people who are following you are just friends and family members, and existing clients, people who are already buying from you, we know we need to start getting new people onto your page. So growth work is probably most likely like 75% now, sure. We need to be doing growth work in probably immediately, like Q1, right? However, if it's a no, then again, this is relationship building, right? This is a sign, just like in the last slide, this is a sign that those people aren't engaged with us, right? So part of the work that you need to be doing on a weekly basis is going through your followers, right? And engaging, like just tapping on their feet, just seeing what they're about, liking a couple of their things, like reintroducing you into their worlds, right? Getting that flow of conversation started so that we can tell the algorithm this person's interested in me, so that your content's more likely to get in front of them. Okay, so like I said, first we just looked at the people that were liked and commented. Now we're looking at the people who follow us, and we can see that for a lot of you, that there's a lot of people that are not engaged with you. So now our system becomes, how can we get them more engaged with us? Elise has a good mix of clients and folks I don't know. All right, good, Elise. So that would be a sign that this could be where relationship building could be really helpful. Jen says, what if followers are more potential partners, coaches in the same space? Jen, that's also great data. It probably would still be a sign to me that, okay, I want to do growth work to get in front of more ideal clients. However, people in my space are following me, which means they could be great crossover partners or great partners that I can pitch to for things. Like maybe do they have podcasts? Like, is there a way we can pitch Instagram lives with them or things like that, so that we can both get in front of new audiences? Carly says, yes, I was cleaning up my followers and realized many of them are coaches, just not engaged. Yeah, totally. I'm noticing this too. Yes, that's great regarding cross promo partners. Yay, I'm so glad that was helpful. Okay, awesome. So let's go to the next question, or wait, is this one done? Okay, the last one is, do you lose more followers than you gain? So you might not know this. So what we'll do right now is, if you go into your insights, so go open up your Instagram handle, and right underneath your bio, you'll see a button that says insights, right? Take a look at, right at the very top, you'll see insights overview, and then you'll see total followers. Tap on total followers and take a look at your growth this week in the last 7 days. Have you lost more followers than you've gained? Just drop a yes or a no in the comments. Oops. Who is that? All right, so what do we have? Pierre, no, we got a lot of no's. Yep, okay, lost more. Awesome. And can I just say, it is very, very normal to lose followers. Okay, so this is not a question of, oh no, you're doing something bad, we need to keep everyone. Like, it's not gonna happen. I lose people so much, it's insane. But I just want to get a sense of the data. Okay, no, great. Jocelyn, can you say that again? Where do we see that? Sure, I'll walk you through that again. Okay, so if you open up your handle, so basically I'm looking where the bio is and your page, I'll just show it. You're looking at my actual page. There's an insights button. Tap on the insights button. And right at the top, you'll see insights overview, where you'll see accounts reached, accounts engaged, and total followers. If you tap on like right next to total followers, you'll see the number, and you'll see like a little arrow next to, oh, she got it. Okay, got it. I'm glad that you got it. All right, awesome. So a lot of people said no, they are not losing more followers than they gain. So if that's a no, and you have a good engagement ratio, it's probably time for growth work, because now you've ticked off the box that your content is keeping people on your page, right? But now we need to move into growth work, right? Because now it's about like getting new people onto your page, and because you know that your content is working for you. Now, if it's a yes, I have lost more people, I've seen this, and your engagement ratio is less than 1%, this is about content not retaining people. So in this instance, it's messaging. for some reason, the content and the topics that you are choosing to talk about is not communicating that immediate need, that like, oh, I need this right now, right? That like, this is such a great resource for me. So it could be about how something is structured. It could be, actually, it's very unlikely how it's structured, but what I mean by that is like the hook you're using. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be like the pain points that you're solving immediately are unclear. I was actually helping someone today, and what we realized, or not today, yesterday, and what we realized was that she was talking a lot about, she was targeting moms, I believe, but she was talking about something like what her business was coaching people about, but then she kept talking about something unrelated to the business thing that she thought was related to what she was coaching, like her business thing. And it was not, the connection wasn't being made. It was like food planning or something, but she was talking about business coaching. And that food planning, she was trying to help save people time in their business, but that connection wasn't being made clear enough. And she was talking too much about it. So we took that away to make sure we were being very clear about the topics on this business. It was a page to coach you on your business. So just as an example, sometimes this can be a question about messaging and how clear we are about the pain points that we solve. Because of course, if someone sees you as a resource to solve their pain points, they want to stick around. So we have to be very clear about that. Okay, so with that in mind, let me say, it says -0.5. So the answer, oh, if you click on that, Nicole, you'll actually be able to see. So if you click right underneath that, right underneath that -0.5%, there, right next to it, there should be an arrow, like a little carrot. If you click on that, it'll say growth, follows and unfollows, and it'll give you an actual number. Let me know if you see that, Nicole.
I do. It says overall -3.
Okay. So then you lost, yes, you lost more than you gained, but not by a lot. Not by a lot. So I might consider that kind of like just retention. Do you know what I mean? But I guess it depends on like next, I would almost look at like 3 weeks in a row and kind of get a sense of how much you lose and gain per week, but that's not a ton, right? I've seen people lose like 100 and gain like 2. Like that's really more like, you know what I mean? That's more obvious. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I had that 6.5% in the beginning, which was pointing towards content working. So that's why I wanted to just put this in and be like, should I be looking at that?
Yeah, no, for me, it feels more like you're, and what I see is that it seems like your content's actually holding people, but I do see evidence of needing more new eyes on your page. That's what I see. But I think the content seems to be working for you. It's more just making sure that we're getting in front of new audiences often enough to grow. And that's the thing that might feel like it's not happening. Does that resonate?
Yeah, I mean, I know I need to grow. And I'm looking at the last 14 days and it was plus 0.6%. Plus, yeah.
Okay, so there we go. You're retaining. So you're retaining people. So I think your engagement and your content's fine. It's a growth thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so with that in mind, just curious, before we move into relationship building, how is everyone feeling right now? Are we feeling like I'm getting clearer? Are we getting more confused? Well, just give me like a 1-word reaction right now. I'm curious. In the chat, please. Oh, Nicole says helpful, clear, good. Good reminder to look at numbers. Awesome. Hopeful. I love that, Sarah Jane. Fab. Confirming what I would expect. Growth is my next strategy. Great, Jen. Well, it seems like I need both, so not sure. That's Arian. Okay. Pierre, unbelievable. What does that mean? Is that unbelievable good or unbelievable like I hate you? Yeah.
It's unbelievable that I guess that I'm engaging people when I think that I'm not engaging people because I don't get a lot of comments or likes, and I don't know. Yeah. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah, good. But at least now we know where to put our focus on. So if that's a sign to me that, okay, I want more numbers, but where do I focus? Is it because my content's not good enough, or is it because I'm not getting in front of new people? And it sounds like it's because you're not getting in front of new people. So now we know what strategies to focus on versus just spinning our wheels on everything. You know what I'm saying? So that sounds good. Yay, awesome. Okay, good, unbelievable. I like it. Kylie, also confirming growth. Great. All right, so let's move into relationship building. Now, another mathematical equation. I'm sure you guys gonna love this. Oh, and by the way, Arian, I did want you to say I did see your I'm unclear. So we're so in the Q&A, let's totally chat and see if I can help with anything. Okay, so do you have an average of 75% or higher retention rate on stories? So now we're moving away from our feed. Our stories is really a reflection on who's invested, right? And so this is a great, some of you might not be posting consistently on stories. So some of you might not be able to convert to look at this moment. For those who can't, actually, let me just get a sense. If you have posted in the last 24 hours, can you just drop a yes in the comments just so I know if we should even, okay, so we have some people, great. So what I like to do is I like to look at the percentage of people that stay from the beginning to the end. Now, a word of warning here. Make sure when you are looking at this, you're looking at about a 24-hour period. So do not shoot, like if your first story in your story right now is something you posted yesterday and your last story is an hour ago, you have to make sure that it's had about the same amount of time to accumulate views. Okay, so pick stories that are kind of like over a span of about 24 hours. And those are the numbers we're looking at, okay? So here's how you're gonna do this. So step one, this is, some of you may have seen this on my Instagram. Step one is to, again, for each 24-hour period, take the number of views on your first story. So probably the first story that you have available in your, on your feed right now. And then step two is take the number of views on the last story in that 24-hour period. So just quickly jot those numbers down on a piece of paper so that I can give you the equation. Again, it's the first story that you have available and then the last story in that 24-hour period. I'll give you like 10 seconds. Okay, cool. Now is everyone good to go? Give me a thumbs up in the camera. I'm like looking at all of you. If you're good. All right, we've got one. Okay, Arian's good.
Hey, Sophia, can I ask a quick question about this real stories?
Yes, let me just find
Hey, it's Jen Morris. Yeah. I've noticed sometimes like when I'm going through and looking, like I'll post like, 6 stories, like all in like the same thing, like 6 videos. And I'll notice that like the first 1 or 2 will have 60 views. And then the second one or the third one actually has like 67. Like how are people getting dropped into the middle of them?
Are you using hashtags?
In the stories?
Yeah, like are you like hiding hashtags?
I don't think the one that I'm thinking of, no, I don't think so. I thought it was really weird. I noticed that the other day and I was like, what?
Yeah, that is weird. I mean, I do see that.
Does anyone else have that?
I do see that happening.
Okay.
Yeah, if anyone else is happening that, drop in the chat. But the only times I see that happening is if I use a hashtag and I'm hiding it. So I'm using different hashtags on the stories. Sometimes the different hashtags can attract different people. But the other time is if I tag. So it's like if I'm tagging a person or a mission.
It's weird.
No?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll pay more attention to it in the future and see.
Yeah, and I'm curious if anyone else, I have that happen too, but no hashtags in my stories. Okay, that's weird. Maricela says, so you mean you have several stories in 24-hour period? I barely post one. Yeah, that's like right. I feel like I'm the most consistent on my stories actually. Okay, Kylie, yes, but it's not business related. I only have 1 story. Okay, so if you have 1 story, that's you can't do this exercise, but this does not have to be business related, just so that I'm clear, everyone. This is just about that 24-hour period. Okay, sometimes I've experienced, but I think sometimes it's because I tag or hashtag. That's what I see, Elise. So we can't do this unless we have an active story. If you have stories in your insights, because the analytics on these, Nicole, expire after a week, I think. So if you can look in your archive and you have stories that you've posted within the last 7 days, you'll be able to do this exercise. But if you don't, then you won't have the data. You won't have the view count. So just keep that in mind.
How would I find that?
So to go into your archive, you mean?
Yeah.
So if you open up, wait 1 second. Let me open my page. If you open up your page, and again, it's so that you see your picture and your bio. That's what I'm saying when I say open up your page. There's 3 lines in the top right-hand corner. And the second option underneath settings is archive. So if you tap on archive, at the top, you'll see post archive, and it'll give you the option if you tap on it to switch to your stories archive, your post archive, or your live archive. You'd pick stories archive.
Okay. It's on stories archive.
Yeah. And then if you've posted in the last week, let me just make sure that's correct. Yeah, that is correct. You will still be able to see your view count, but if it's been longer than a week, I think the view count goes away. Yeah, after a week, the view counts go away. Did you find that?
I did. And it's weird because one of them let me see the view count and the other one didn't. Super strange.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have no idea why. Isn't Instagram annoying? Let's just say
so
it.
Okay, you know what? It's all good. I'll just listen.
Okay. All right. So here's what that looks like. We're taking the first view count and the last view count. All right. Now, next, here is the equation. You're going to divide your last story views. So the last one, which will typically be the smaller number, by your first story views to get a number. All right, it's going to be, mine was 0.82. And then you're going to multiply that by 100 to get a percentage, and then you'll get a percentage rate. So again, my last story view was 709. My first one was 859. I got 0.82. I multiplied it by 100 and I got 82%. The goal here is 75% or higher. Drop your percentage in the comments. 83%, 91%, 83%. Woohoo, you guys. Amy, this is very good data for you. Very good data for you. This kind of tells me a little something about, anyways, we can talk about that later, but like about me, like this is what my data, Amy, my data also suggests I need to be when it comes to sales stuff, perhaps doing it in my story more than I do in my feed because I have very high view ratio. So putting it out there. Yeah, you guys, awesome. Okay. So that tells us if you got less than 75%, which I don't think any of us did who shared anyway, your IG story content isn't retaining people, which is a sign that it needs to be strengthened or more specific, right? So like, for example, sometimes I find that like my stories, this is going to be surprising perhaps because I feel like my stories have gotten way more boring, but I have noticed that I have seen a huge increase in story views in the last like year or so, right? And I have also noticed that I've changed how I share things. Like I'm a little goofier than I used to be. I'm less documenting and more like funny things. Like I'm like have more fun on my Instagram stories, and I'm also do a lot more question stickers, right? So this could be simply a question of how you are showing up in your Instagram stories, right? So just keep that in mind here. This is not the same as feed, whereas a low engagement ratio technically means your content isn't performing. In this case, it's just that people aren't invested in you, right? They're not interested in staying the full Instagram story, maybe because they get bored or whatever it might be. But this just gives us an idea of like, is this keeping people interested, and are they invested in what we are talking about? Okay. So great data. Everyone's doing really well with that. And this is, again, this is a sign about relationship building. Like if you have a good view ratio on Instagram stories, it's usually a sign that relationship building is like a very good thing for you to be, like your audience is keen to engage with you, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It could also be a sign if you got that you need to grow your audience with people who are better suited for your stuff. Like this is just another idea that if people are not staying through your whole feed, maybe the topics you're talking about isn't something that they're interested in. So we need to get in front of new people to make sure that we find our right audience. Okay. All right. Now, gosh, sorry, this little thing keeps getting in my way. If you got 75% or more, it's a sign that people who follow you are invested. That's what I just said. When you ask people if they want your lead magnet, so this is the next question. When you ask people if they want your lead magnet, do they respond? So let's drop a yes or a no in the comments. Oh, and Arian, can someone show the equation again? Yes, here, I'm gonna flip back while people drop their yeses and their nos. Here's the equation, Arian. Let me know if you got it. Okay, so Kylie, I don't know if I drop off after about story 4. Do you mean that people tend to leave after 4 slides? Is that what you mean, Kylie? Just drop a yes, that's what I mean, just so I don't get confused with the people that are saying yes and no.
Like when I'm the consumer of stories and I see like all like too long, I just like too many, and I just swipe through.
Now, if someone was talking about something you were really interested in, would you still do that, or is that just? You're muted again.
It's too long for a story. I'm like, that should have been like in an IG live, I think.
Oh, okay. So you're saying when they're like just standing there talking for longer than 4 stories.
Yeah.
Got it. So for example, if someone had let's say 8 slides in the story, but like one was something about one thing and another was about something else, like each one is about a different topic, that would be different, like a different part of their day.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I can see that. I'm like that too. Okay, Arian, I'm gonna move on. I think that you got that, right? Okay, let me just move on to where we were. Okay, we were here. So let me quickly go back up here. Yeah, when people ask, okay, so this is the question. When people ask if they want your lead magnet, do they respond? Pierre says yes. Leslie says no. Amy, when I ask in my stories, yeah, wherever you tend to do that. I only do that really in my stories, but yes, wherever you ask. Leslie, I need a lead magnet. Podcast links sometimes, lead magnet, not really. Okay, that implies I'm asking them if they want it. That's true. That's true. I barely sold my lead magnet on IG, not enough to really get a gauge, but the 1 or 2 times I did get a conversion, have not had any sales from IG, all from email marketing. No. Okay, and Nicole, that's great, but even like leads, for example, I do a lot of selling in the DM, but I also do a lot of selling in my email, but my email is pretty much 100% built off of social media. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really asking about like that conversion being like, do they go on your email address or do they become a list subscriber? The same people who already gotten it. Yeah, I get that too, Amy. Okay, cool. So if you answered yes, great, keep doing that. If you answered no, my lead magnet, people are not asking for my lead magnet. Here's what that could mean, right? If you scored highly on all of the engagement equations, it could be one of these 2 reasons, right? The lead magnet may not be performing for you. This could be something that people aren't that excited about, right? Or perhaps they're not in that stage of relationship with you, right? Maybe they find it like sometimes I get iffy about responding to Instagram stories if I feel like this person's gonna sell to me. And sometimes it depends on how they show up on social media. If they're like super salesy, because I've had a few people that like, once I comment on something, they just don't leave me alone. And I'm like not ready for that yet. So like keep that in mind. It could be like a numbers game. Like maybe they'll be interested in the next couple of times, but for now, they're not at that stage. Now, if you looked at your audience and only see existing clients and family, it could be, and Amy, this could be you, your audience is already on your email list, right? The people who are engaged with you are also in your email. So that could also be why it's not performing for you. Or it could be you need growth work to bring in the right people, right? It could just be another sign that, all right, the people on my page, I already know who they are. They're already on my email list. So of course, when I share my lead magnet, no one's biting because they're already there and I need to bring new people into my world to grow my email list. Okay. So given that, what we're going to talk about conversion next, that's going to be our next metric. Given this, who feels like they know what their most immediate focus is? Drop that in the comments. Growth, 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 growth. We have all growth so far. Creating a lead magnet to grow. I love that. Yes. Growth. Growth. Targeted engagement. Ooh, Jen, I like that. Yeah, actually, what do you mean by that? Do you mean kind of like relationship building? So it's like they're getting on your email list?
Yeah, I feel like I've been really getting like the right kind of audience finally, and now I just need to like really build the relationships
Yes.
with them, which I have been doing, but it's a constant like practice to like do
100%.
it.
Yeah, totally. And that's where I would go with you as well, because I know you said that your engagement ratio is high and you do see people that you have not bought from you that you're not like that familiar with yet. So that is a sign that relationship building is your next phase. So I think we're on the same page with that.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Relationship. So Jocelyn's in the same place. Amy, growth. But I have questions to ask to verify. Okay, Amy, that's great. Karen says engagement, but also growth to get in front of other ideal clients. Elise, I can engage followers who aren't on my list yet. Yep, beautiful. Okay, so this next, Stephanie says relationship building to re-engage some followers. Yeah, that's a good one. So it does sound like people are feeling like I feel pretty good about, like, I feel pretty clear on what my next phase is. So that's awesome. Now, our last metric, and this is one, I think this is going to help the relationship building people. Actually, it's going to help everyone. But just a reminder before we get there, I really want us to be like, this is a class about figuring out where we are so we know where to put our energy. This next thing that I'm going to talk about might make you feel like that's what I need to focus on. And that might be true, but don't remember to reassess and come back to like where the numbers are saying. I just don't want you to see this as a shiny object, okay? But the next phase I want to talk about is conversion. So that's step 5, conversion. Now, this is really about making sure that we have a system for conversion, and there's only one metric. Oops. Let me just make sure that is everyone muted? Okay. Do you have a system for conversion to convert to your email list or to a client? Okay, again, conversion is just about taking the next phase in the relationship. Drop a yes or a no in the comments. We have a no, 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 no. Nicole, yes. Not a good one. No, yes, Amy does. Elise is inconsistent with it. Okay, yep, that makes sense. No, no. All right, great. Lead magnet, yes. Conversion, no. Lead magnet is a conversion, Kylie. I just want to make sure that because you're making someone warm, right? And then you're selling in your email list. If you're not selling in your email list, then that's also a focus for you. But we want to make sure that we're not forgetting that. Yes, but could be better. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so again, if you said yes, refine and repeat, refine and repeat, refine and repeat. If you said no, and the majority of us said no, let's take a deeper look at that. How do you get your clients now? This is the question, and I want you to take out a notebook, because what I want to emphasize here is, again, we are not trying to make our life harder here. We are trying to look at our data, look at what is already working, and understand how social media can help what's already working work better, or just amplify it, just make it bigger, right? So take out your notebook and just jot down how you get your clients now. That could be referrals. That could be when you have a launch. Like, there is no right or wrong answer here. Just brain dump. I'll give you about 60 seconds. When you're done, just drop a done in the chat. Kylie, social selling and referrals. Jen, you're so welcome. I like being called Goddess Sophia. I could get used to that. Okay, I think people are done. Awesome. So how do you get your clients now? Now, let me walk you through what I did when I asked myself this question and how I use that information to turn that into systems and processes to work for me on social media. And I'm going to show you how I did it so that it can illuminate how you can do it. Okay. So when I asked myself this question a few years ago, this was the answer that I found for myself: referrals, email lists, DMs, and urgency. And what I mean by urgency is I don't launch like people typically do. I've always pretty much, except for maybe like a hot 2 months in my business, I've always done and had an evergreen model. So for me, it wasn't a launch as much as it was like bonuses or things that expired at a certain period. So that's what I mean by urgency, but this could also for a lot of you just mean launch. I just want to be clear about that. So again, these are the things that brought in clients for me: referrals, emailing to my email list, DMs, and urgency. So I had to consider, how can I take what's already working and have social media support that, right? So how can I use the format of referrals to inspire social media content? So referrals, why does referrals tend to work so much? It's because someone like, if Pierre, if I'm talking to Pierre and I say, gosh, I'm really looking for like a business systems person. Like I really need someone who can help streamline my systems and make my life work a lot easier. And Pierre's like, oh, I know someone awesome. Her name is Kylie. You're going to love her. I'm going to want to hire her because I trust Pierre and he trusts Kylie. So if the trust is now evenly distributed, and I now will want to jump into Kylie's boat, or at least investigate, get on a call with her and just and like figure it out, right? So referral is about trust. So how can I create that same experience for people on my social media? The first thing I did, that's when I developed the results highlight, right? Because I was like, okay, people, if they see that amount of people getting results, it shows that there's proof in the pudding, right? And they're more likely to say yes to me. The other thing was IG story swaps. Great. So how can I take the people who have audiences similar to mine? Maybe we can swap, she can introduce me to her audience, say, I know someone, her name is Sophia. She's a social media strategist. She's going to help coaches just like you do X, Y, and Z. Here's her lead magnet so you can get 12 strategies to blah, blah, blah. And then I'm on my list going to do the same thing for her. So now we're creating that same experience where I am sharing with the people who trust me that I trust this other person, right? And she's really great. And you should learn from her if this is a problem that you're having. Again, I'm creating that same experience around that referrals have, but I'm on my social media. Or really all kinds of pitches. This is why podcasts are valuable. This is why all the email swaps, this is why all those things are valuable, because we are getting in front of audiences that have already built trust with the person who is putting us in front of them. Okay, so ask yourself, if referrals are where you get the bulk of your clients, how can you use that and leverage it? Now, the second thing was, how can I drive traffic to my email list? Because my email list is already working. I already send an email every single week. How can I use social media to amplify that effort? Not create more work, just bring traffic towards the things that are already working. So the first thing I did was plug emails I'm writing and invite people to join to get the next email. This is something I need to get better at remembering, because this is my weekly task for myself and I always forget. But whenever I do this, this works very well for me. Basically, like this week, I shared some strategies on how to know if it's time to grow, right? And I should have, I didn't, but I was planning on going on Instagram story and saying, hey, if you feel like you need to grow, but you're not 100% sure, and you want some very specific questions to ask yourself to determine if you want to grow, drop your email list, drop your email address in this question sticker, and I'll add you to my email list so you can get my email at 1 o'clock. I've done this for all kinds of things, and it has always worked so well for me. But again, I got that idea simply because I asked myself, how can I now drive traffic to my email list? The second thing, create engagement from my social media list that can lead to sales conversations. So again, Just using my email list and making sure that I create calls to action in my email list. I know email is not technically Instagram, but like it's still actually social media, right? But again, it's just like taking that engagement that already exists on email and doing the same DM strategies in my email. Calls to action. Reply to this email with the word info and I'll give you more info. Great. Now we're in a sales conversation over email. Same strategies I taught you in the DM, but over email. Again, amplify what's already working. The third one is just to get consistent. And the fourth one that I did was align my emails with what's happening, what the heck to post every week. I know my email list performs well for me. So now I can make sure that when I send emails, they're about the classes we have. The email I sent this week was about the class we are having today so that I could plug this class, create urgency around it and say, if you want to be on this class, it's happening at 12 p.m. So you have to sign up today, right? Because those are the things that work for me. How can I create more DMs? I can put more CTAs in my story. I can create one business aligned quiz every week, right? So that I can create engagement on that. Like I can DM all the people that are voting in my quiz sticker. I can be way more consistent with my welcome DMs. I got lazy when all the Peloton people started coming to me because I was like, I don't know who's a coach and who's not a coach, right? I mean, now I'm better at it now, but it was surprising at first because I was getting like hate mail. So I was like very confused, right? So I got lazy with it, right? But I could get way more consistent with my welcome DMs. I could also analyze what kind of content brings in business conversation and focus on that 3 times a week instead of 5. In other words, now that I can answer these questions, now I can create systems around it. So I'll get to that in a second, but before I'll just do the last one. The last one was urgency. Now I can choose when in my year to give bonuses and when to push sales. Well, that's what we did in the content map class, right? Where I'm just like planning out my year. I have an evergreen model, but I can have pushes twice a year where I do like a bonus. Could even do certain offers in certain communities, right? Because I have an evergreen model, maybe my email list is going to get a discount in April for what the heck to post, maybe. And then I can promote my email list all of March and say, in April, you're going to get a discount, but you have to be on my email list. It's only going to be for my email list people. So then I promote my email list all in March and then I sell in April, right? So again, I just have that idea right now. I love it. It's going to happen. My point is, when I look at what's already working, now I can take that and brainstorm around it. How can I make social media amplify this effort? Not add more shit, not learn more strategies, but instead take what's already working for me, take it to social media, amplify that effort, bring more traffic to that effort, make it more fun, right? Make it look like a blast on social media, right? And so that way, all of the systems, like the systems that I'm creating are aligning with the effort I'm already in a habit of doing, right? So now I go through this list, and for example, these right here, like I said, this is something I do, like I'll do something on this list once a week, right? It's just something I'll be in a habit of doing. Once a week, I'll do something in here just to create more DMs because I know that's where I get results. And then this one, email list, I'll do this once a week too. So now I'm doing 2 sales efforts a week based off of what's already working. And then something in here, referrals, I like to do 2 of these a month. So now at a minimum, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, that's 10 conversion efforts a month that I am building systems around that align with what is already working in my business. Okay? Does that make sense for people? I feel like that's very hard to explain, and I did my best. Thank you, Kylie. Launch it for okay, oh, awesome. I love that you guys have shared what it gets you results. That's awesome. Yes, Kylie says, I've seen you do this before. Where do the emails go from those stickers? Is it as a DM? Yes, Maricela, they do. When you get new followers, do you have a template for sending a new DM? I haven't been doing anything and would love to relationship build. Yes, Nicole, if you watch the list building class, I outline my welcome DM strategy. I think it's the very first strategy I go through, and it's probably my favorite strategy. It works the best for me. So you'll get a lot in that class. Love this. Yes, I love this. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let me just see if I'm done. in other words, let's just wrap us all up. Consider what is already working and brainstorm ways you can take what works and what you have a system for and use social media to support it. I think I made that clear, but if I did not, let me know. All right, I want to open things up to questions if anyone has any. Can we just say this is the first time in my entire life probably that I have actually, this class was actually like an hour. Like it was not 3 hours, it was an hour, and now we have Q&A. I just like feel like I've grown. I just feel like I need thank you, Jen's cheering me on. Thank you guys. I love everyone's cheering. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Okay, so does anyone have questions? If you do, why don't we just like drop me in the chat and I can just call on you guys just so that, thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that. Yes, it's great. I get clients from Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups that do you think that is from your list? Marisela, can I talk to you about that question? Because I just want to make sure that I understand it. Just Hillary, oh, you were amazing. Oh my gosh, I love it. Kylie, must be the hair.
Yeah.
You guys.
Sorry, I was putting the boob away.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Yes, can you ask your question?
Something.
I get it.
No. So from considering I took a break to have a baby and all of that, from where the clients came last year was effectively me putting posts inside favorite Facebook groups that I was already a part of.
Okay.
And these are Facebook groups that are like, English speaking women in Zug or in Switzerland or whatever, because that's where I live. Or in WhatsApp groups for women that I'm also a part of. So
okay.
I don't know if that's a sort of the WhatsApp groups. I feel like it's kind of a referral because there's sort of some trust implied because I'm part of the group. The Facebook groups, I don't know if it's the same, or I don't know if it's so much. And that's where I'm trying to think. I'm like, well, they're only from that. And it's not like they know me personally. Yeah. But for example, we share something in common. So we're either all expats here in Zug, or we're all Spanish speaking here in Switzerland, or, something of the sort.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's a tricky one because that is social media. So those are social media strategies, but they're not your social media. For me, yes. It's an example of getting in front of a new audience, I think. And so for me, this isn't exactly about your content, but for me, it sounds like you're very good at getting in front of new people and building and developing a trust or rapport with them, right? Like it sounds like people meet you and they feel comfortable with you and they feel safe with you. And by your content, I can understand that because you have that kind of an energy, which I think for what you're selling as well is just a very, very good energy to have. But that for me gives me some data around I almost feel like social media would be helpful to be creating relationships with people that you could be crossover partners with and do master classes for audiences and things like that. So maybe you can do this is actually how I use social media because this is a strength I have too. I'm good at getting in front of new audiences and building a rapport with them, even if I've never met them before. So what I use social media for is I build a lot of relationships with people like business coaches and people that I think we share audiences with. And then I say, hey, I have an idea. I think your audience could really benefit from X, Y, and Z. And I think my audience could really benefit from you too. So I create these mutual relationships where they're going to show up in front of my audience for an Instagram live or a masterclass, or our guest experts in our calls are all based off of this. In What the Heck to Post. And that's how I get in front of new people. And then, that's how I use social media. And then on those calls, so for example, let's say you're going to do a call in What the Heck to Post. On that call, I would make sure that as your call to action, in addition to seeding your email list, you're bringing people back to your Instagram too, right? So I would say things like, and actually, if this is a topic that you're really interested in, I have 2 resources that are really going to help you. The first one is I have a free PDF that's going to help you do this, this, and this. Go to this link and you can download it. But the second thing is this is the free content I post on my social media every single week. And I really think you should follow me for quick tips that you can implement right away. This is my handle. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's how it all feeds into one another. Does that help with
Okay.
that data?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just so yeah, because I'm gonna do that precisely with a lady who she reached out to me. She's like,
Great.
oh, we should do something together. So we're gonna do something together in March. And I was doing a lot of that with podcasts and whatever, which I really like. But podcasts, I never really saw it was difficult to see a conversions. Like, where can people see you? And you got Instagram or whatever. And then it's difficult to see like conversion from that.
Do you
I guess.
have a lead magnet though? Do you have something
Well,
to,
I had, and
okay.
we were talking about, and it would have been done this week had my son's schools not had COVID cases and he had to homeschool, but it's okay. So he's going back supposedly on Monday. So my plan is to record it this weekend. So I'm getting there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You
okay,
got But-
enough, because then I need to keep you on schedule.
But that is what I would do on podcasts. That's how I see conversion on podcasts. I do a very clear, and I see it throughout the entire, I don't wait till the end. Throughout the entire, like if they ask a question, I'll say something, ooh, that's a great question. And actually, if this is a topic you're interested in, you're going to want to download this thing, and I send them to a link. But let me talk about that right now. Like, I do that throughout so that people have, if they tail off or need to go, or their cat poops on the rug or whatever it is, and they can stop listening, they will have a lot of opportunities to hear about a lead magnet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay, awesome.
All right, that was a good
Thank you.
question though. That had me almost trumped. No, is that the word? Whatever. Stumped, not trumped. I love her face is like, I don't think so. Okay, who, okay, I think I saw Amy say me, right? Amy,
Yes.
are you there?
Yes, I'm yelling at everybody to be quiet.
I love when you come on. It's always an adventure. Like, we don't know what is going to be happening over there.
I redid my Start Here highlight yesterday, and my daughter is in it, and she's like T-Rex roaring in the middle of one of the slides. And we recorded it twice, and I'm laughing, and I was like, you know what, this is really authentic. Like, we should just leave this in here.
Hashtag real life.
Yeah, basically. So my engagement rate's really low. I know part of that is go on. Okay, I'm talking. Part of that is like paying for the follow bot stuff from years ago, and that's just going to be the way it is.
Yeah.
And we've removed followers to that point. I also know I have not been as consistent with creating, we'll say, great content. It's just kind of get stuff out there. I'm feeling a little bit better now, so there's hope. Maybe that'll improve. Like, I haven't done reels in probably 2 months, so I know like all of that factors in. But I see like the numbers are all good whenever I grow. So from what I'm seeing is I still need to grow, but since the other numbers aren't there, I wanted to double check that you were thinking the same thing.
Yeah. So for me, because we talk and I know like your backstory, I figured that actually you're the reason I put that slide in of it, like your engagement ratio might be lower because I was like, I just felt like maybe like that will happen. I didn't know what would happen, but I figured like, this could happen to Amy. So I'm going to, just in case anyone else is feeling this, and a few people did. So because of the bot thing, that is going to affect it. So for me, the engagement ratio, I wouldn't go all in on for you particularly. I also know that there was another figure when you looked at your followers. Are they people that you know? Like, are they clients and family members, or are they new people?
The people that are engaging are really either people I know that like I've connected with and they're like on my email list and in the Facebook group and we're all together, or family members or clients.
Yeah.
The people that are actually interacting, yes. And I've reached out and try to do like some of the relationship building with, some of the bot people, but
just
they're
not
not responding. No.
Yeah. Okay. Then I think growth too.
Okay.
Yeah. I think growth. And And I actually wonder if your podcast might actually help with this, because I do think like that's a whole other algorithm that gets new people into your world. So like, you are a podcast host and you are appearing in other podcasts. Like, I wonder if in 2022 that could really help you. But I do think in terms of the energy, for me, it would be growth.
Okay. And I've seen that, like, I haven't even had the energy like to pitch people, but
Yeah,
I've had a couple people like, hey, will you come be on the show? And
Yeah.
I've seen like, even like, okay, we recorded one, what was it, last Friday, and like posted in my stories like, hey, we're recording for this. And I saw like 2 followers, and I can tell it came from her because
Yeah.
like, oh, mutual friends type thing. So
Totally.
I'll keep working on that.
Okay, awesome. And you've had a lot going on, you know what I mean? So it's just like, give yourself the space.
We leave tomorrow for my grandmother's funeral. So Brooklyn's really anxious for us to go pack. So
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Gosh.
it's okay. She's doing better. She had Alzheimer's, so she's
Oh,
in a better place
that's
now.
so rough. That's so rough. Well, I'm sending you so much love. I know you've got a lot going on. Yeah, I'd say
Thank
growth.
you. Okay.
All right, awesome. Okay, I think Arian was another one. Oh gosh, guys, there's so many comments. So sorry. Thank you so much, Sophia, and all looking forward to catching this replay. Bye, Elise. You're probably already gone, but I miss you. Kylie, I'm in a lot of Telegram groups. I would love strategy. Oh, on how to leverage those relationships. Okay, if that's our next question. Kylie, do you want to pop on and talk about that?
Yeah, so I'm in like.
Oh, Kylie, I'm just going to answer Nicole's question real quick because
Yeah,
it's
go ahead.
but you don't mute yourself or anything. Nicole just says, is the growth class you created prior still applicable? Would love help with what to do to create growth. Yes, it absolutely is, Nicole. I would also watch the pitch class. So the growth class and the pitch class if your focus is growth. Okay. Hi, Kylie.
Yeah, so I think I posted that after Maricela was talking about, the WhatsApp and like the different groups that we're in.
Yeah.
I think that Telegram is similar to WhatsApp. And so I'm in those Telegram groups, but they're more like Bible study prayer groups, and they're more like the friend zone kind of groups.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I know there are business owners that are in there that may need help. And it's just funny, like, there are startups in there, like, that are my friends that have like businesses who are like, they're not my friends because we're friends on social, right?
yeah.
Like, when I get money, I'm gonna hire you. Like, you're my girl. So I need, like, people who are up here already
Yeah.
to leverage and scale now.
No, totally. But see, that's the thing. They're not your target audience,
Yeah.
So for me, and are those the people in your Telegram group?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, like, I feel like that I almost would, because they're not, because they're not your target audience, I probably wouldn't, like, I would let them do their thing and not try to get them to be clients, because they will be headaches for you because they're not what you want. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, if they were your target audience, I mean, I feel like we'd have to talk a little bit longer about what kind of conversations you're having and just kind of the overall vibe of the group. But if they were your target audience, like, it honestly might be like a simple, like, private DM where it's like, you're in this group, but that's how you met this person. Like, let's just say Amy's in this group and she's perfect for you, let's say. And it would just be a question of like, hey, Amy, like, I just wanted to connect personally because I love like being connected with you in the group. And I just realized that we each have like similar interests and things like that. Did you want to do a coffee chat? Did you want to catch up or something like that? Did you want to, like, because you are in my community, like, I want to make sure that I'm always there to support my people. Like, is there something you're struggling with? Like, something to just kind of present, ask the question about value, what she needs. Like, this is something that I did in our mastermind. This is how I met mastermind people, because I was so awkward in the beginning because I feel like I haven't spoken to people in forever. And I was like, how am I going to actually make this a business opportunity for me? And a lot of it was just like, hey, I love being connected with you. How can I support you right now? Right? They would let me know about what the thing was. And I just made it a habit of sharing content I had. It wasn't like, I'm like, great, let me give you a free coaching call. I'm not going to do that. Right. But I did make it an effort, like, okay, you know what? I have a contact that's going to help you, or I have a lead magnet for that, or I have a post on Instagram. Do you follow me? Because there's a lot of stuff I post about that. If you DM me right now, I'll reply with the post I'm thinking about. Something like that, just to kind of bring them into the space where the work is happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's probably what I would do. I would just make a friend.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Like, it's like, hello, I have so many different pieces of content. Like,
Yeah,
I keep
exactly.
forgetting about that strategy. Like, oh, I have a piece of content. I already talked about this thing. So here
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah, exactly. No need to make anything new. Right now, the point is just to make that connection so that it makes sense to share the content. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not big on the email list, but I love going live. I have so many Facebook lives that I uploaded to my YouTube. So I'm like, oh, here, like they can watch it on YouTube too, right? So
Yeah, totally. Like it just gives you the opportunity. Like once you have a relationship, it opens up opportunities to actually help the person. And to actually help the person means like to have an actual sales conversation when you get to that point, right? But it's just, you just want to make sure not to have that sales conversation too early, which is why we have this initial step where it's like, let's just connect. How can I support you? Like you don't want to come off sleazy salesman. You want to make it clear that this is what you do. You know a lot about this topic. And so when it does come time to have that sales conversation, it'll be obvious to her that you're having that. It's not going to be like, oh my God, why is she talking about this stuff? She's going to be like, of course she knows I'm stuck. So it makes sense.
Yay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Nicole, I answered her question. I think I need growth right now too. Erin, did you want to pop on? Is Erin still here? Okay, she is.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my gosh, how beautiful are you? I'm so
Oh
sorry.
my God, thank you.
It's
Thank
so
you.
fab over there.
Thanks. It's so good to see you. So good to see so many of my friends here. It's really fun to see peeps too. So thank you so much for this. So I know I'm growth in this moment. The question is, so I do have a lot of those followers that are not, true followers. Do I need to do something with them, or just, is it too much time to like unfollow people, or what do you think about that?
Yeah. So for me, like, cause I as well have a lot of people that I'm like the Peloton people, like, I'm like, oh my God, like, why are they here kind of thing. And it's like, they're never going to result to anything. And usually when people ask this question, it's because, are they bringing my engagement ratio down? And the answer is yes, they are bringing your engagement ratio down. Now, it does not matter if you still feel like you're getting conversation around the business topics, around like if you share a lead magnet or something like that, like you're getting response from the right people. Would you say that you are?
Well, not in this moment, because I just haven't been consistent lately. So that's why I'm, watching this and watching all the other ones. When I do things, I do get a good response when I'm consistent in my business and
okay. All right. If you're getting a good response, then I would leave them.
Okay.
And a lot of people will say not. A lot of people say, no, remove them. But here's the thing. I'm all about energy and where you're putting your energy.
Yeah.
And for me, I feel like if we have people talking to us that, and people that we have the potential of converting and they're not already clients and we have a response, then that's great. Let's nurture them and bring new people in versus spend all that energy removing people that are just dead weight. But if we don't make them dead weight, we just let them stay there and ignore them until we have to deal with them, which maybe will be later, but maybe will be never. Like, I just don't want you to waste energy there, right?
Okay.
I might have answered differently a year ago, I will say, just for people who are like, you told me different before. I used to think differently about this, but I've seen a lot of people spend a lot of time doing that work and it make no difference whatsoever.
Okay.
So for me, my advice has changed on that.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you. And then, so this year I'm focusing on a little different things in my business, different topics, as I mentioned to you. So for the growth, it's, I guess it's like, so I have a lot of people on my email list and stuff, but they're kind of, I guess I don't know how to bring them up into kind of the new topics as well. I do want to grow, but how do I also, so that's kind of be a new focus of person, but like, I also want to bring these other people along too.
Yes. Although I do feel like your new focus, like, like a lot of these I mean, okay, I do like your new focus is different, but it's still, I feel like, do you agree? I guess this is
Yeah,
a
it's
question.
the same umbrella. It's all the umbrella of confidence. I mean, that's the umbrella of confidence. And then the other things underneath it are, you know, business, sex,
Right.
relationships, videos. Yeah.
Yeah, that totally aligns with what you talked about. So I actually think the only thing you really need to do is just make it clear that you're like I don't want to say changing, but it's the best I can think about it is like if you're at a party and like all these people are rocking and you're like going to change the vibe of the music. Like, oh, it's midnight. Now we're going to change to house music. Like, I don't fucking know. Right. Like, I almost feel like you almost like let people know, like the vibe is changing. If that's no longer your thing, I love you. I'm sending you love, like no worries, but I'm so excited because this is what I have in store for you. So it's like you're letting people know so they can make up their own mind if it's not for them. But the purpose is saying like, I have so much in store. Here's what's coming. And just sharing like just changing the music of the party. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's such a great way to say it. And that's exciting. Like, as you're saying it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's exciting. So, and I've seen other people do this where they're like, hey, like I'm focused on this thing this year and it's so exciting. And like, if it's not for you, it's cool. So I get that. So but it is fun because it is like an energy shift and to like acknowledge that. Cause that's what I was shy about is like, do I acknowledge it? Do I just like move forward or, you know?
Yeah, I think you should totally acknowledge it. And like for me, like when we're asking those market research questions the other day, and remember, like I never respond to those only because I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm the target, because a lot of I see that like with What the Heck to posters, and I don't want to like skew their data, and I know I'm not always their target audience, but with you, I know like I am your target audience, and also I love you. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fun to answer. So I actually feel like acknowledging it would behoove you, because I think it's just bringing people into the party, and it's a fun party. Like the topics are fun, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Okay, good. That's so helpful. That's so inspiring. And like, that just gets me excited for like, yeah, to not be shy, just be like, yeah, this is what's up. And it's sexy and fun. And and it's a little different energy. So good. That's really helpful. I'm so glad I'm here. Thank you. Oh, and also the next step, since I do need to do growth, you said to do growth class and the pitch class. Is that right?
Those would be 2 great classes for growth work. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Thank you so
Yay,
much.
you're welcome. All right, who else do I got here? And then the contact wrote, oh gosh, Kylie. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I just saw your comment. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, okay, guys, people are helping me figure out my words. All right, do I have any more questions? Oh, okay, Arian, I just talked to Arian. Did we go through? Thank you, Sophia. We'll watch these both and also the beginning of the list building so I can start with the welcome DM. Super clear, Nicole. Great. Carly, that's super helpful to know. Kylie, I have a follow-up cue to what Arian said about dead weight followers. All right, Kylie, let's go. Where are you?
I'm here. Okay, so the question that I had, and you kind of answered it with where you're talking to her about switching the vibe. Because like the page that I have, like I've been like through so many different types of coaching, right? And so my page has just accumulated a whole lot of different followers. Then I have like people who follow me for like church stuff and just a smorgasbord of people who are not interested in my services.
Yeah.
And it's been, I feel like it's a personal problem. It's a mindset issue, but like putting out content that relates to my actual business, because I have so many of these other followers, like I kind of use my profile as like a personal and business profiles, and they kind of just smooshed together.
Yeah.
So should I just like screw it and just do it and just like post the business content, like, and if they fall off, they fall off, and then it'll shift my viewership and all of that, right?
Well, don't forget, this isn't necessary. Like, I also use my page as a personal page and a business page. You know, I actually think that's beneficial. So I think if you have people who are interested in the personal side of you because they're friends or from a different walks of life that are just there because they support you, let them be there and let them support you. I think that that's okay. The only thing would be is if your followers from, like, if you're targeting a completely different person. For example, If I was targeting, if I started a new business and I was targeting social media managers, they are not on my current page. They are a different world, right? So that might be an example where I would consider, do I need to do something with my current followers? Because they're not even remotely on the same island. Do you know what I mean? Like a coach and a social media manager are not like struggling with the
Right.
same stuff. But I don't think that's the case for you, right?
So this little bit off topic, I'm kind of moving away from the done for you systems as a business, and I'm switching over into just like helping people with burnout, which is like a overarching problem.
Are they business owners?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in the process of creating my new avatar.
Okay.
But I feel like the burnout kind of encompasses everything that I have done. Like when I was a health coach, I was talking about energy and burnout. And then when I went into business systems, because that's what people were asking for during the pandemic, I'm like, sure, like, you know, pivoted. But now I kind of want to go back to the burnout, but not the health side. But like, I want to target business owners who are struggling with burnout. Does that make sense?
Yes, business owners who are struggling with burnout. And before you were also targeting business owners, but just a different struggle, right? But it's always been business owners, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so with that in mind, your audience is the same and they have to decide if they are struggling with your new issue, right? So I would give you similar advice to Arian. I would say, like, this is what I'm about now, like, and just change the music at the party. You know what I mean? I don't think you need to start a new page or delete your old followers or any of that stuff, because it's still the same target audience. Like, similar to me, I started out working with multiple 6-figure and 7-figure coaches. Now it doesn't matter. You could be making that or you could not. You'd be just starting today. Like, so I didn't change my social media platform. I just changed the music, right? And I just made that clear to people. So for me, that's all that I would just, if you feel like you are uncomfortable sometimes sharing your content because you second guess it, I would put out a post, like I said with Arian, and just make it clear that the music's changing and why you're so pumped for it and who's like your perfect person for what you have coming out, you know, so that they can decide if it's a yes or no.
Yay, thank you.
You're so welcome. All right, Jen says, thank you for this great session and the clarity on direction. Okay, I think I got everyone, which is amazing. Guys, I can't, we did Q&A in 30 minutes. I'm so on time today. I'm literally gonna have like a martini just to like cheers to myself. I love you guys. I also need to tell you that, yay, thanks, Clarissa. I also need to tell you that I'm actually going on like my first vacation in a few years next year, just because of COVID and all this stuff. And what I just want to know what that means for you. Pretty much nothing. Everything's going to go on like normal. I might be less consistent in the Facebook group. Like I check in every single day now. I might check in like every other day, but I'm still going to be in there. So I just want you to know if I'm a little delayed, I'm going to be in St. Lucia. So excited. But I'm still there for you and I'll definitely be checking in on you guys. We are doing the consistency challenge in February. It's going to be amazing. I'll give you more details later, but I just wanted you to know that that's going to be our next strategy call. Next month isn't going to have a call. It's going to have a month-long challenge instead. It's probably going to start on the 7th of February, but I have to confirm that. And then our following class is going to be about our lead magnets. I have a guest expert coming in to talk about sales pages and lead magnets and just making sure that our landing pages are super strategic, and she's going to audit your pages as well. So it's going to be a really, really good class. Yay. Oh my gosh, everyone's giving me love about my vacation. I'm so giddy about it. You guys have no idea. Thank you. Oh, I thank you, Arian. That's so kind of you. Yeah, Stephanie, I've squealed a lot recently. Yes, Hillary, lead magnets, very hot topic. This is why I'm bringing her in, because I know a lot of people are struggling with this. Well, I love you all. And Pierre, it's okay that you're not active in the group. I know everyone's at different stages. It's absolutely fine. And I'm sending you so much love and I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful you're all here. Have an amazing weekend. I'll see you next week in the Facebook group. And if I don't say it enough, I'm so, so grateful for you. Honestly, you guys are just such a joy to me. So thank you for being here. Sending you all so much love. Bye.